Okay, let's dive right into this 7-minute explainer. We're going to build a really wholesome foundational understanding of how your hormones actually work. Over the next few minutes, we're tossing out all that complex medical jargon. Instead, we're going to look closely at the real, everyday mechanics of your body's internal communications system. Let's get into it. So, why do hormone problems feel so confusing? Well, we kind of have to start by acknowledging a very real frustration here. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by all the contradictory wellness advice out there, you are absolutely not alone. Our bodies can sometimes feel intensely mysterious, right? And that's largely because we've been taught to look at them in completely the wrong way. We tend to think of our biology as these simple math equations, so it leaves us totally baffled when we put in what we think are the right inputs, but we end up getting the wrong results. You see, we tend to treat hormones like outdated on and off switches. We just assume we have either too much or too little of a certain chemical. But the reality? It's much more like a street food kitchen during a massive lunch rush. Seriously, think about it. If one order is shouted out too quickly, or maybe one cook mishears it and another dish arrives late, well, the final plate can look entirely wrong. And that happens even though every individual part of the kitchen is technically still working. Hormones behave exactly the same way. They aren't switches, they're a highly sensitive, coordinated, and very much living system. Section 1. Signals in a system. Think of hormones as the body's long-distance messengers. They act a lot like a text message, carrying specific instructions. Imagine firing off a text in a totally chaotic family group chat. If you need dinner to be delayed, you don't walk into every single room and explain it face-to-face. You just send one message, and everyone who needs the information adjusts. You can also think of it kind of like a household budget. Money is limited, so the family has to decide where it goes. Well, hormones help the body allocate its limited resources effectively based on real-time demands. They're constantly deciding whether to spend energy on alertness right now or maybe conserve it for later. And here are the specific instructions actually being sent in that biological group chat. They're saying things like store fuel, release fuel, grow tissue, slow down activity, prepare for stress, support reproduction, or conserve resources. These are the absolutely critical decisions hormones are helping your body make every single second of the day. They literally help prioritize what matters most in any given moment. So the crucial point here is this. A hormone isn't just some magic chemical floating around doing things on its own. It's actually a dynamic communication chain. Basically, a hormone equals a message, plus a listener, plus a timing. And that message, well, it only matters if the receiver, which are your cells, is actually present, functional, and ready to listen. Think of it like a key. If the cellular lock is damaged or already occupied, having the key doesn't do you any good. Section 2. Timing and feedback loops. Timing matters just as much as the sheer amount of a hormone floating around in your system. A great way to think about this is like brewing tea. If you steep it too long, it becomes bitter. But if you steep it too briefly, it tastes weak. You've got the exact same ingredients, but an entirely different result. Hormones work with this exact same level of sensitivity. Your body isn't constantly trying to hold one perfect, flat line. It's just trying to stay rhythmically coordinated. Which brings us to another really great model. Think of a thermostat. If a room gets too warm, the thermostat sends a signal for cooling. When it cools down enough, that signal drops. This beautifully illustrates that balancing hormones isn't about hitting one perfect static number. The point is definitely not to keep the system frozen. The point is to keep it self-correcting. We want to ensure your body's feedback loops are actually capable of returning to a healthy baseline after dealing with a stressor. So whenever you feel kind of off, you can actually use this 4-question diagnostic matrix to figure out where that communication chain might be getting distorted. Just ask yourself, is the signal being sent? Is the message actually arriving? Is the receiver listening? And is the timing right? Doing this completely strips away that terrible anxiety of feeling like you're broken or like you're somehow morally failing at wellness. It helps you pinpoint exactly where the city's messengers might just be getting stuck in traffic. Section 3. Habits are daily signals. Your daily routine literally acts as a continuous vote. Your body is always interpreting your routine to decide if it's living in a stable environment or a stressful one. It's constantly in the background asking, hey, is energy available? Is it safe to spend it? Should I store, repair, or conserve? And guess what? Your daily habits are telling your body the answers to those questions all day long. Let's look at sleep, for example. The old way of thinking is that sleep is merely your body shutting off for the night, like a computer. But in reality, sleep is the vital rhythm setter for hormone timing. It isn't just rest, it is the conductor of your body's entire orchestra. It organizes the precise timing for release, repair, and reset.
Without that conductor, the instruments just drift completely out of sync.
And food works the exact same way. It isn't just raw fuel. Food actually acts as critical information about environmental predictability. Predictable meals allow your system to anticipate and stabilize. But erratic eating, that forces your body to constantly guess. It pushes it into this exhausting uncertainty mode where it feels an absolute need to become cautious and just hoard resources.
Then, of course, we have movement and stress. It is absolutely vital to remember that movement keeps your tissues responsive to signals. It essentially helps keep your cellular locks from getting sticky. Chronic stress, on the other hand, well, that acts like a blaring emergency radio broadcast cutting across all your standard messages. It's a massive priority shift. Your body isn't failing when you're stressed. It's simply adapting to what it perceives as the most urgent threat in the room.
So, our habits absolutely do not operate in isolation. They form a tightly reinforcing network of inputs. Sleep signals safety. Food patterns signal fuel availability. Movement signals responsiveness. And stress load signals urgency. They all shape one another. Poor sleep increases your stress sensitivity, right? Which then affects your food choices, which then impacts your energy for movement. It is one incredibly interconnected web.
Section 4. Trusting your body environment. Now, it's really important we make a clear distinction here. Habits support the terrain, but they do not replace a medical diagnosis. While natural habits aren't some magical cure-all for deeper medical disorder or a major deficiency, they are absolutely the foundation. You literally have to give your body the repeated environmental evidence it needs to heal and self-correct. Sustainable change usually looks pretty ordinary. It's all about consistency, not dramatic overnight wellness hacks.
I'm going to leave you with one final thought and question to reflect on today. Ask yourself, does your daily routine signal safety or survival? Really think about the messages you're sending your biological receivers every single day. I hope this explainer helps you shift your mindset from someone constantly chasing symptoms to someone who can powerfully read their body's entire system. Thank you so much for diving into this with me. Keep learning, and whatever you do, keep paying attention to those signals.